Thank you all for attending.
All right,
The object of this meeting is to introduce you to the new manager, the assistant manager, Naz Bashir and Tristan Lewis. And I'm sure that you'll give them a reasonable welcome. And let's hope we all go together in the future to the sort of aspirations that we all hope for. And Tony Driscoll, who's the director of football, as you know, will no doubt be putting in his 2 pence as well. So I'll hand you over to us, right? Thank you.
Okay, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Just like to say, open up tonight. If you've got any questions to fire at me or Tristan, feel free to do so. I'm sure you're a little bit optimistic about the coming season, where we're going to end up and how we're going to play and players and pre-season. So I feel it's important tonight for you to ask as many questions as you feel that you want to, and leave here tonight knowing that we are going to do the best possible job that we can with the resources that we've got. Okay? Anybody who wants questions, just hand up and fire away.
Yeah, what are the resources?
Well, we've obviously got a good set of fans, which is important. So every club needs a good fan base, and obviously I've been aware of Hayes and Yeading in terms of their support, and obviously moving forward it's important that we have got your support, not just us but the players as well. In terms of resources, every club gets a certain resource for the coming season, and I've had this conversation earlier with the staff and Tony and the chairman. And, you know, you could have the biggest budget in the world, and it's pressure to have that budget. This year we've got a budget that I will use to its full potential. With all my contacts I've got over the last 15 years, I will bring in the players that will do the right job for Hayes and Yeading Football Club.
Have we got any players signed on?
Obviously, the changeover from full-time to part-time there is going to be a big impact, and there's going to be players that you probably liked last year. You thought, oh, these players can take the club forward. I think you've got to put yourself in their shoes. You know, if they were earning a decent wage last year and then the club is going part-time, if they get an offer to go to a club that's going to match what they were earning last year, then they're going to go. You know, so all the players that were here last year will be invited back. It'll be their decision whether they come or not. And obviously if they do come, we'll sit down and hopefully if they're the right player for the club, we'll re-sign them.
Getting early, Nick.
When does pre-season training begin? When you've got pre-season training, and also, if possible, off the top of your head, a list of pre-season trainings that you've already got arranged.
Okay, Nick, yeah. It's been, obviously I was appointed last week, so in terms of trying to get pre-season organised, we have been doing that. We start on we're going to do Tuesday the 26th and Thursday the 28th, which is going to be open sessions. So, you know, sometimes a player comes out and you think, well, where did he come from? So we're going to open it up to players, you know, locally that play for Brookhouse and local teams, and that will come out and we think, yeah, there's something there. Obviously, I've got a wealth of experience of developing young players, so if there's any young ones out there that we feel have got potential, we want to know about them. And then, obviously, after the Thursday, we'll cut the group down, and the first real training session that I would say will start on the 2nd of July, which is the Saturday. And that's when the main group of players will be invited back. In terms of pre-season games, it's been very difficult at the moment to get the sort of games that you guys want to watch, because most of the professional clubs have already done their pre-season schedules. I have been on the phone constantly for 2 days, and we are trying to get a showcase game, you know, which is what you want to see. But obviously it's important for us as well to get a good level of games that we can challenge the players to move forward. So we have got a couple of games in place which you'll be aware of, which will go on the webpage, and you know, you will know about.
What style of football are you likely to try and play?
Winning football. I've had a good 10 years at Reading. Been around people like Alan Pardew, Steve Cobble, 2 different styles of play. You know, Pards likes to play football, back to front. Steve, you know, direct at times, but obviously, you know, plays a certain way which is important to the team. So it is important to win, but for me it's important as well that we play the right style. You know, and I've always been a developer coach, which develops players to be comfortable on the ball, have the ball in tight areas, you know, and play football. I'm aware of this league that sometimes you can't do that. You know, so and again, it will depend what type of players we get in. You know, if pre-season we get the players that I feel can play that certain way, then we'll play that way. If not, we'll adjust to the sort of players that we manage to attract.
Did you see Hayes Newton play last year?
Unfortunately, I didn't. No. So, but I've got all the DVDs of the games, which we're going to watch. We only received them tonight, so we'll watch the DVDs of the games. I'm aware of a couple of players that came up that you had last season. So, no, I didn't watch any games last year. My role last year, unfortunately, was scouting for West Ham, so you know the games I went to was better for them. Unfortunately, we didn't have a player last year that West Ham went to side.
Stop digging.
We lost a load of players last season compared to the season before, and that was, I don't know whether a lot of that was down to the fact that we went from being part-time to full-time. So now you're saying we're going back to being part-time. Can we expect some of the older faces to possibly reappear?
Yeah, I think there's pluses and minuses with full-time and part-time football. The type of player we want to attract is someone who's got a job, a decent job, but is still a good footballer. You know, and I've played non-league, you know, before obviously starting at Wickham and at Reading, and there is some good players out there in that mould that, you know, that've got a good job, combined with playing football as well. That's the type of, you know, and I did that myself. Full-time players, you know, not normally, you know, the lads that, you know, haven't got a job, and it's quite nice for them to see it. Some of them get a bit lazy. You know, the type of player we're looking for next year is ambitious players that want to improve. You know, whether they're 17, 28, 30. You know, that's the type of player we're looking for. Someone who wants to come and work hard and improve their game. You know, I don't want players just turning up and going from game to game, and you know, it's not about that. We're going to try and create an environment where it's a learning environment for everybody. You know, we're going to play a type of football which the players will enjoy. They'll definitely enjoy the training, and from week to week, I'm sure the attendance list at training will be first class.
We were criticised last season about our fitness levels on a few occasions. What do you intend to do about that?
Yeah.
About the goals we left in the last week of now.
Yeah, I've already obviously initiated a conversation with Tony about the coming season. I'd already put in place a pre-season programme, and one of my colleagues that I work with at Reading Football Club, a guy called John Goodman, John's actually got a fantastic track record of, he's got his own company now called Think Fitness, and when he first started out he was at Crystal Palace and they got promotion, then he went to Watford and they got promotion, then he came to Reading and Reading got promotion, so he's got quite a good track record. Last year he worked at Millwall, and I thought Millwall done really well last year, and they were quoted as being one of the fittest teams in the league. So John's going to do all the fitness work for us, so I can guarantee our players will definitely be fit. It will not just be running up hills, running down hills, it will be specific work that will be monitored, it will be recorded, it will be cross-referenced with Premiership players, Championship players, so we'll definitely have a fit team moving forward.
Anyone else?
Yeah.
Going back to the pre-season friendlies, Eastbourne have said about a week or so ago that we're playing them on the 23rd of July.
Yeah, that is right. We have got Eastbourne.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like I say, we've been on the phone today. I'm trying to get the best games possible. We've got Maidenhead in between. We've got Eastbourne, like you say. We've got Tame right at the end. They've got a new stadium that I've seen, which is a nice surface. So we've got 3 or 4 in already, but it's not the type of probably fixtures that you guys want to see. You know, you'd like to see us up against a professional club.
Well, the players, that's the main thing.
Yeah, I will have a team of players. Trust me. Definitely.
Do we know, sorry, do we know how many of last year's squad have left and how many are likely to come back?
No, no. We know that a lot of them have spoke to other clubs and mainly Farnborough. I spoke to players.
Why would they want to go there?
I think it's something to do with the air show.
I think what you've got to remember is like the players, if you're in their mindset, last year they're earning, and to have their money halved, then when you think, I want to go with them. That's how players are, even in the Premiership. Certain players will chase the money. Now, if you're a young player, that might be their motive to do that. What I've said, what we're going to say to them is come and see what we do. It might be that you take a step backwards to go forward. You might come to us and I can develop them, and by Christmas time they go to a bigger club. On a better package. But we're going to invite the players back, the ones that we feel are going to be good for the club. They'll be invited back. If they come back and they're the right players that I want to work with, then we'll move forward.
Will these be contracted players?
It depends. I mean, the only players that we would look to put on contract are players that we feel could move the club forward.
Or make some money on?
Yeah. I've been quite fortunate. The last 10 years at Reading probably developed over £20 million worth of talent. So, if there is a young player, I've missed a few. Don't get me wrong, I've missed a few that have made it, which is good for them. But, I am a developing coach. And like I said, even if a player comes and he's 29 years of age, he will improve. But he's got to want to do it, and that's why it's important we sign the right people.
How much of an influence will your history of academies play with getting players in this year?
Yeah, well, it's been an important thing for us this year is that we use the loans really well. Like I said, we'll get a group of players at the start of the season that we feel will start the season, and then once I get that squad that I know we're going to work with, then I know what I need from the pro clubs. I've had a lot of calls. I've got contacts pretty much at every club. So if I need a player, who fits the criteria that we're looking for, then we'll get him. But it's important that we use those loans wisely this year. And for me, those loans are more important to me than having a player on £700 a week that plays 1 in 3. I'd rather have a young, hungry player that's at a decent club that wants to progress and go back to his club a better player and get in their first team.
Does the budget preclude or hamper travelling to Fleetwood or Barrow or places like that? I mean, is that difficult overnight stays, etc., even though these guys are part-time?
Well, I mean, it depends. We're still going to do things properly. That's one thing I've said when I first spoke to Tony. I want to bring a professional image to the club. And we've got to do things properly. And I looked at the preparation that you've done last year, and it was very good. So we will carry that on. We give the players the best possible chance to perform. And we want to be. I want to bring a professional image to the club. I've seen the plans for the new stadium, and moving forward, we want to say to people, listen, this is a club moving forward. And if you want to get on our bus, get on it. If you don't, go and find another club.
But it's still expensive to go to Fleetwood, Barrow, overnight stays, or whatever. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, but
That's a different budget.
Okay, all right. Maybe it's not a question for you. Then, sorry.
yeah, sorry. In terms of the money and that, obviously speak to Tony. But we will be doing things properly for the staff and the players and for the club.
What attracted you to apply for this job?
It was I knew the job was available, and I'd had 1 or 2 other little offers recently that come around, and I didn't take them. Made a decision not to move up north because my kids are at school and I wanted to stay around this area. And then Tristan sort of edged me towards it, my assistant, and said, look, it'd be a good opportunity, And then spoke to Tony and had a chat with him. I've known Tony quite a long time, and I trust him. And it's important that we can, do things right, and it's a club, the stadium being built, and the plans for me. It will help my career and it will help the club.
Will you be looking at our own under-18s to develop them as well?
Yeah, definitely. Simon East, I've known Simon a long time. He's done a very good job at the club, you know, for your club. A lot of players have come through, and you know, if he's got any players that can progress through to the first team, it's important that we're aware of it. So he will be involved in, he'll be involved in the first team matters. We're not going to have sections where he's over there and we're over there. We're all going to work together. And if there's any young boys that he plays against that he feels that we should sign, then we'll look at them as well. It's important that a 17-year-old boy might need 2 years, but if he is good enough, then we'll take him and progress him to the first team. And you know, if he goes on professional, then great.
Are you aware of a man called Delroy Predley?
Who doesn't know Delroy? No, I've known Delroy for probably 15 years actually. Initially played with him and against him, I think, when he was at Slough Town or around that sort of era. So I know Delroy. I actually met him about 6 weeks ago at a tournament. His son was playing, and had a little conversation with him there. So I know he's very passionate, which is what we want. He's a good man. You know, he wants to play football and he wants to win, and you know, he's obviously good for us moving forward.
Can you underline what you just said there to us? He's a good man with you, so...
Yeah, I mean...
Is he around?
Yeah, I mean, I've not had a conversation with him yet, but, you know, I don't know how old he is now, is he?
66.
He's got his 50th birthday coming up. So, no, the way I see Delroy at the moment is I've got to have a conversation with him, but we want him involved in some capacity. I believe the last couple of games he played for the club was very good. You know, and he's got the sort of mentality I want. You know, he does it because he loves football. He doesn't do it for finance, and you know, he's the type of person that we want around the club that actually loves football and wants to be here for the right reasons.
Will next season's squad be majority of young players or a mixture of young?
That's a difficult question because in every, you know, if you go to every club and you say to the manager, what do you want? They say, well, I want a bit of experience, I want a bit of youth, which is what we want really. You know, I think there's some decent teams in this league. You know, let's not get carried away. There's some good teams and some big clubs. So ideally, I'd like a little bit of experience. You know, to help the young players on the pitch come through. But if I had a team of 23-year-olds that were athletic, strong, quick, determined, I'll take that. I'll take that.
We're setting time with working.
And obviously we're going to use the ground. I've not had any dealings with them myself. But obviously we're going to, you know, I think it's important we all get on and we try and, you know, try and be friends with them. We're using the ground and obviously we're paying for it, but it'd be nice to work as a team. You never know, they might have a player at their club that we're interested in that might want to play at a high level. So, no, I think it's important we all get on with them.
Is it possible to get a friendly with Woking? Which
Well,
would be good for the fans as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's something we did speak about. So it's something we could look at. I mean, again, they might already have their fixtures in place. If they have, then it will be a no-go. But you know, moving forward, we could definitely go. You know,
would that be a home game or?
We'll have to toss up for their own changing. It's a telephone call definitely to be made to see if we can get that game on.
So the season starts in about 6 or 7 weeks' time. So at this stage, do you not know who you've got to work with in terms of playing staff?
Well, I've got, at the moment, we're going to invite, there's probably 15 letters to go out to the existing squad of the players he had last year. Obviously, some of the players have priced themselves out of the market, because obviously they're going to go full-time again. But the ones that we've identified that we want to come back, we'll invite back. My phone hasn't stopped ringing since I was appointed of players that have played for me or been trialling with me or playing at other clubs. So I'm sure we're going to get a real good group of players together come the start of the season. And then once I see what I've got, then obviously the phone calls to professional clubs and my contacts will go from there.
Is Darren McLean one of the ones you may have identified to come back? Can you tell us?
he is coming back.
Good.
At the back there.
Last season, last 2 seasons, we scored lots of goals, but we've also conceded lots of goals.
Yeah.
How are you going to remedy the amount of goals that we concede?
Defend properly. No, there's. I mean, one of the things I've really worked on through my coaching is trying to set out a team to have a platform. And any good team, any successful team, always defend first. You've got to make sure you've got a good platform to work from. A lot of goals you probably conceded last year were probably errors, mistakes. Now players maybe not good enough, but goalkeeping errors. Yeah. But one of the things that we will definitely do, and I've said to Tristan, is this year we're going to spend a lot of time on defensive work. If we go away from home and we get a 0-0, then for me that's a good point. So we're going to play a certain way, but there will be a lot of detail in the coaching. It's why we need the players that I take on board to understand what we're doing. We can't have players that don't transfer the coaching. And if we do get those players that transfer, we'll have a really tight unit.
Can you just put my mind at rest on one further thing? We're not going to play 4-5-1 at home, are we?
We'll play. I mean, you can play whatever system you want. Some systems are effective, and but one thing I'll guarantee: when we play at home, we will play as if it's our home ground. And we will be going out to win. Anyone that comes to the ground, Wokin's ground, and we've got to adjust to that pitch. The players got to get used to it, and I think we've got 2 games on there.
Well, one definitely, hopefully 2.
Hopefully 2, where the players can get used to that pitch. But we're going to play exciting, attacking football. I want the players at home to come out the blocks, firing, and hopefully, scare the opposition within the first 10 minutes.
What about the other way?
Yeah,
We'll be 3-0 up by then.
We've lost many times for 3-0.
One of the things I learned with Steve Coppell was, obviously, when they played at home, out of the blocks, didn't give the other team a chance to get any rhythm, to start a flow, and it was non-stop, exciting, the ball was back on the pitch quickly. And obviously then when you go away from it, you have a different style of play. So, but we know what we want to do, and once we get the players and the right players we want, then we'll be fine.
Are you full-time or part-time?
Both. I think it's one of those ones, the role probably you would say is part-time, but it's got to be full-time.
You've got another day job?
Yeah, I've got my own business where I've got an academy that runs at Bisham Abbey, a new scholarship program starting there in September. Tristan, that's worked with me for 10 years. We've got a project that runs in Reading where a boy has just signed for Stevenage. So I've got my own business, but this role, if you're not going to commit to it, it's my first chance in management, and I feel that I've got to give it 100%. So for me, there'll be no shirking or not doing things properly. Our commitment is 100%.
Will you be using your academies to get players paid?
I should be using everywhere. So wherever I find there's a player that's good enough to play in our first team, he'll be coming to us. That's the. And if we can better players that we've got, we will do. Like I say, all ears to the ground. If there's a player out there that we should be knowing about, then we want to know about him. We want him to play for us.
Mr. Haylock last season said that he would hope for a top 10 finish. Would you go along with that for the next season? Or?
Listen,
I am taping this.
Yeah, I think we're going to try and finish as high as we possibly can. And I'm not going to say to you, we're going to finish in the top 5. I think that's unrealistic to say that. It's going to be a long season. There's going to be highs. There's going to be lows. It's important that we all stick together, that we get behind the players. If there's any players at any stage that I feel is not doing it for the club, then they'll be replaced. But I feel it's important that there's going to be times this season where yeah, we are going to come up against it, and it is going to be tough. But I think we just got to make sure we all stick together and realise that we are trying to do the right things.
What sort of attributes are you looking for a captain?
Someone that can lead, someone that's got good experience of the level that we're playing in, someone that helps players on the pitch and is not, you know. And the worst, something I hate is when players tell somebody when they've done something wrong, you know, wasting energy. So it'll be someone that can lead, someone that can play at that, that's played at the level, and someone that can communicate and also inspire the players around him, you know, in his performances from week to week.
Can I put a name forward for that?
Tom Campbell.
Nathan Webb.
Right. Okay. We'll see.
Interesting on that, obviously with part-time, I don't know 100% whether he still is, but Tom Campbell, as far as I'm aware, is part-time sort of player. I'm sure everyone would agree he's been probably the driving force, so that's getting the confidence. And last year when he did play in defence, it was kind of horrible to watch. I just recommend keeping Tom Campbell, even, you know, I know the budget is slashing out. He is one of the person that kind of holds the team together. So.
Yeah. Well, I've had dealings with Tom. He came to Reading as a under 16. As I played years ago with his dad. He came in at under 16. Wasn't quite at the level we were looking for at Reading, and at that particular time, when a player there called Alex Pearce that I felt had more to offer, and Alex has actually gone through and played in the first team now. But I sent Tom down to Wickham, and he managed to get himself a contract down to Wickham. So I have had dealings with him. I know what he's like. I know he's a 110%er. He's very honest. And myself and Tony have had conversations, and he's one of the players that we will be looking to keep. He's the type of player that we want. That type is what we're looking for.
We get a decent left back this year as well.
Well, I mean, you know, there's one or two players I've identified, but it might, you know, we might end up this year with a full new squad. You know, because I don't know.
That might change.
I don't know what's going to, you know, people are saying to me at the club, I've had a lot of phone calls from pro clubs, what do you want? You know, what are you looking for? And I'm saying at the minute, I don't know. Until we get to the 2nd of July, you know, we might be alright, we might not need some help. No doubt during the season we will, but for the start of the season at this stage, I can't say what I need. I'm not going to say I need a left back from a pro club, and then a left back comes in and we think, blimey, this he's alright, you know, we're happy with him. So at the moment, it's wait and see what we get.
I hear that Lee Brown's gone from QPR. Who's he gone with?
Whereabouts will your training sessions take place?
They're going to take place at where's it, Phil?
What's Hayes
What's that?
The training group. Springfield Road. Yeah, the AstroTurf's gone down there. So it's a brand new Astro, 3G, 4G, floodlit. So it's a brand new surface. It means we can train every night, which is important. You know, it's important that we can train and not worry about the weather.
Only for 10 minutes though, because we've got to let it out.
So no, it's important that we have it for the 3 hours we've booked it for. And no, it's important for me. Like, you know, one thing we will be doing, which is important for us, is we will train on Monday nights. If there's a game on a Tuesday, we'll train on a Monday night. Because I don't want to go from Saturday to Tuesday. You know, having played the game on a Saturday and there's things that we need to work on, we've got that Monday night where we can address that, and then obviously prepare ourselves for the Tuesday night game. So we're going to try and utilise what we've got, you know, and hopefully, you know, the Astro pitches are quite nice. You know, obviously the ball moves nice and quick. We're going to try and pass the ball really quick this year, so that will be a suitable service for the boys to work on week to week.
How many days a week will you be training?
Well, the schedule would be, if there's no game, it will be a Tuesday and a Thursday evening. So it'll be Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. But then if there's a Tuesday game, then we'll train Monday night as well. So it will be a Monday night session we'll go before the Tuesday.
Are we playing Tuesdays at Woking or don't they play Tuesday nights?
I think all the fixtures are there, is that right?
I don't know, is that right?
Yeah, all the fixtures will be there. So
no, but on a Tuesday night. Not,
Well, it was Tuesday
if
or
they play on a
Wednesday.
Tuesday.
well, if it's a Tuesday or a Wednesday, I mean, I'm not, the fixture list hasn't come out yet. I think it comes out in a couple of weeks' time. So depending on that fixture is, you know, I want a session in between going from game to game.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was just to say, what qualities do you believe makes a successful manager?
Well, I think I think it's yeah. I mean, there's loads of things that you can look at. I mean, I've been coaching 15, 20 years now. I've done every single session that you can think about with the players in terms of coaching sessions. You know, then you get an ex-player that's played 300 league games that drops into coaching, and because he's played 300 league games, he gets the job, which I think's wrong. So I've done my, you know, I think you've got to do your apprenticeship, you know, and look at what you've done in previously, and then obviously, you know, take your chance. I think management's not easy. I think you've got to be lucky. I think you've got to get the right, be lucky to get the right type of players, and also you need things to go for you, things to work for you. But you need to be hardworking, which I am, ambitious, which I am. So we'll see. Hopefully, you know, I'll tick all the boxes.
I'm going to Parliament. Is there anyone you want me to sign? Can you just say one of the questions I was going to ask you is what do you want from us? But I think what you want from us is us getting behind you. I think that's what we'll do.
Thanks very much. Thank you. Yeah, I think we should have, I'm quite happy to, listen, the most important people at the football club is you guys. You know, you come in, you watch the game, you know, you pay the players' wages, you know, so I'm happy to do this, you know, again, you know, no problem. I think your feedback's important. And if there's certain things that you feel the club could improve on, I think it's important that we're aware of that.
One thing I noticed from our sort of league is that the manager hardly says anything after the game.
That was the last one.
Sorry? Except the last one.
He didn't say anything before the game, did
he? You can actually video you it after the games.
Yeah, you know, one of the, you know, good friend of mine, Brendan Rodgers, you know, stressed to me one of the most important things in life is communication. You must be able to communicate with your players, with colleagues, with the fans. So I'm happy to communicate with you guys all the time. You know, I think it's important.
Any update on the new ground when we might be moving in?
Bill, new grounds?
July 2012.
July 2012.
Newcastle or Spurs, or both.
We've got a whole season away.
Yeah, we've got a whole season away, but you know what it's like. The season starts once we get the games flowing, and you know we get on the road. The season 2 flies, so that'll come around sooner. You know, sooner than what we think. Just looking forward to the first game. You know, wherever we get, hopefully it'll be at home. We can get some points on the board.
One thing is, can you motivate the players on a November night at Woking? We're playing a team from up north. There's going to be about 50 people in the ground, and that's what's going to happen. I tell you.
Yeah. Well, it's one of those ones. It's, you know, it's important. Yeah, it's important that, you know, like I said, the selection of the players, like I said, is important. You know, we need players that are hungry to succeed. You know, that want to get better. You know, and they've got to go to that place on a Tuesday night and play. And if they don't, then they're not the type of player that we're looking for. You know, so that's what I would say. You know, it's going to be the same for the clubs coming down to us. You know, one thing that I think is good for us this year is we're a little bit the underdog. You know, a lot of clubs will come, and I think they'll underestimate us, which I'm happy for them to do that. You know, so yeah.
One of the most disappointing things last season is we dropped a lot of points to clubs that we as supporters felt we should have beaten. I mean, we know there's some big teams in this league who we're up against it, but there are teams that we feel we should have beaten, and I think that was the most disappointing aspect of last season. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I think in every game you play, there's moments in a game where the game can change. You know, so certain decisions, certain things. He misses a one-on-one, or the keeper makes an error. And there'll be certain games that the you fans will want to win. And I want to win every game. I don't care who we're playing against, but every game we want to win. And obviously that's the mentality I want the players to have. Whether, I don't care if we're playing the top team or the bottom team, we'll be setting our stall out to win.
On the other side of the coin, there's teams that I wouldn't expect to beat, and we beat. So if it was that easy to predict, to win balls every week, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Sorry guys, have you got a scouting network or are you going to rely on your own contacts?
Yeah, I mean there was a scouting network. I'm going to use my own contacts. So we'll have people out there looking at players, doing reports on the teams that we're going to play against, which again is important that we have that Monday night session, because obviously going from a Saturday to the following Tuesday, we need some time in between to work, on maybe what their set plays are, some of their key players, what they, things that they would do on the, so we can just get the players to understand what sort of things we need to look out for. So in terms of scouting, I know enough people that will do that for us.
That's one of the biggest frustrations for me last year when we had games. It could be Saturday to Saturday, it could be Saturday to Tuesday. We were so inconsistent. You could sometimes look and you wouldn't believe it was the same team. They were so inconsistent with their ability. And is there a way?
Well, one of the things that I've been aware of, and spoken to Tony, is there was quite a lot of players that were coming through the club last year. Sometimes when you do that, it's very difficult to get a consistency with the players. The players need to understand each other. Does that make sense? So if you've got an understanding of if I'm the centre half and I know what he's going to do, so I know he's going to go and win that, so I'll cover. When you bring in loads of players and you've got a conveyor belt of players coming in from all over, it's very hard to be consistent. Reading won the championship with the most points ever, and it was a settled squad. I want to try and get a settled squad for the start of the season, and then bring players in as and when we need them. I don't want an agent ringing me up saying, "Oh, play him, he's better." Play. No. We want a settled group of players, and that's when the consistency will come in, when you've got a settled group of players, because they all understand what you're doing. Obviously, understanding what we're doing as well, there'll be a feeling of we're in it together. We can create spirit. If you get people coming in off the street that don't really know what the spirit is, it's very difficult, and that's when you break the spirit.
When I first started coming to Hayes, win, lose or draw, we always saw a good game of football, and that was in the days of Terry Brown.
Yeah.
But that hasn't happened for quite a long time now. It wasn't only during Gary's management, it was previous management as well. And the second time sometimes they didn't even turn up.
Yeah.
So, it's something that I personally would love to see.
Love to see, yeah.
What facilities have you got for keeping the players fit in terms of accommodation rooms and that
Yeah, well, what we're going to do is, obviously, we've got to try and make the best of what we've got. So John will come in, we're going to do an extensive pre-season, the boys are going to work very hard, they'll be tested to start off with, so we get a gauge on what fitness level they're at before they even start. They'll then be retested before the first game of the season. We'll cross-reference that to see where we actually are in terms of what the professional lads are. And then they'll be retested again before Christmas, and then at the end of the season moving forward into next season.
I was thinking of the accommodation.
Yeah, we've got, when we go to away games, we'll have overnight stays. Is that right, Tony?
Yeah, what facilities do we have? I mean,
It's not going to all be done outdoors, is it?
Pretty much so, yeah. Yeah. We've got, I think there's still a gym down at the...
We've got facilities of the school.
Yeah, so there's a fitness gym that we could use, but we'll be working with the ball. We won't need... Yeah. The training pitch is going to be down. The training...
next to...
Yeah, there'll be a gym there for rehab.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, there's a gym there for rehab, so the physio can use that for rehab. Yeah, but in terms of us training, we'll be on the pitch. We'll be working with the ball. Anybody?
Will there be a reserve team?
No. But what we will do, we will arrange games and what we need. And it's going to be a small squad. So between the squad and Simon East's team, we'll arrange games where it'll be an under 20 side that will play against teams, and obviously I can get some games easy for with Pro Leagues and that.
Sorry, is that because of under 18?
Sorry?
We have an under 18.
Yeah, we've got an under 18 team still, so Simon East will run that.
First team and under 18.
Yeah, and then we might have we might do some reserve games which will be under 21, under 20. Right. Obviously we've got the problem this year with the ground, so in terms of getting the ground to play the reserve team games at, it's going to be cost-wise, it's going to be very difficult.
The possible under 20, under 21 games against professional opposition. Will they be published on the website? Or
Yeah, we'll get them out and let you know when they are. Yeah.
What sort of squad size are you looking for?
Probably looking at about 22 players moving forward, trying to make sure we've got enough cover in certain positions. So that's important. We've got 2 left backs, 2 right backs, maybe 4 centre halves. But making sure we've got the cover. I want to go with 4 strikers if I can, because yeah. So obviously it's quite nice to have 4 strikers, 2 playing, 2 on the bench. 20. I think 22 would be probably a figure we're looking at. And obviously it's keeping them all happy as well, because if they're not playing, we've got to keep them content. Anybody else?
Just about Esmond James. What's happened to Esmond after the cruciate?
I believe he's gone to Farnborough.
Gone to Farnborough. There you go. Tell on me.
Well, he works with Gary Haler.
Listen, we will bring a lot of good players to the club. I know you've had a lot of good players here previously, but I will attract a lot of good players. We'll get some players here. You'll see the quality's good, isn't it? So don't worry about having good players at the club again next season. We'll definitely have that.
Do you got online message boards?
Me, I ain't got time to go online.
When you get a player, you look at the time down to make short-term contract. Because one of the things that happened last season was, we've got getting players in on loan, and we were losing them sort of within a month or 3 months, or.
Yeah, what we'll do is any player that we identify that we feel is good, a good prospect for the club, and then we will put on a contract. And if he's young, definitely. But no, we don't want. I don't want players coming and going. No, I want to try and get the players that are here to see what we're trying to create and be part of it. In fact, I don't want to leave. They want to be part of what we're doing for the right reasons.
Yeah, I mean that's all well and good, but when someone comes along and says, "I'll double your salary, come and play for me," I mean.
Yeah, let them go. Let them go. We can replace them.
Do you see this as like a long-term job for yourself, or you put yourself in the shop window for a bigger club?
For me, it's a learning curve. I think it's for me to start off with. I'm not going to say I'm going to come in and go to Manchester United. For me, it's my first manager's job. I'm going to make mistakes, like every other manager does, but it's a good starting block for me. See, it's a big club with good plans for the future, and hopefully I can be part of that moving forward. If after a year I get offered another job and it's an opportunity for me to move up higher, then obviously I'll have to sit down and think about that.
Not lower though.
Sorry? No, I won't be going lower.
You can't get much lower.
No, I won't sign a contract. Anyone else?
That's it. Sorry, one more. Are you keeping FC video?
Yeah, all the games will be videoed. It's important for us that the players we have. We can do match analysis with them, and they can see the mistakes that they're making and the things they're doing well. So all the games will be videoed. It's important that the players can see what they're doing. We will do obviously have classroom sessions where we watch the games when we can fit it in. It's fitting it all in, but it might be on a Saturday night on our way back from Fleetwood or Gateshead. The video goes on. DVD player.
What coach is that then?
That's another 50 quid.
Can I just ask what Christian will bring to the job as an assistant manager?
Yeah, well, Tristan's worked for me for 12 years now. When I first got the job at Wycombe Wanderers, Tristan was doing a degree in sports science, and I recognised that he had a feel for coaching, so I got him a job down at Wycombe. Then I was offered the job at Reading at their academy, and I left. And obviously an opportunity appeared for Tristan to come across to Reading, which he did, into the academy. And since then he's progressed. You know, every young person has got to start somewhere. And he's done well. He just recently passed his A licence. He works on one of my projects in Reading, which has been very successful. We've had 3 boys. 1 boy signed for Celtic, 1 for Coventry, and 1 for Stevenage just previously. So he brings to the table what I want. You know, he's hard-working, he's committed, he's a good coach, good communicator, and I'm hopeful that we can work well together. You agree with that?
I can't talk, by the way.
That's enough from you.
I'm not on mute, I promise. I've worked for Nas for 12 years. You know, the first thing that Nas ever said to me when I was doing my coaching badges, because he actually did my badges, was the quality of enthusiasm. And I have to say that, you know, he's a fantastic role model for me in that. And the enthusiasm that he showed recently for this role is infectious. I've learned an awful lot from him. Obviously, he's given me great opportunities. Firstly, to go to Wycombe with him, and then to follow to Reading. And I've had the benefit of watching him develop as a coach. You know, he's a role model for me both on and off the football field. And the people that he's worked under, I've obviously had the benefit of getting guidance from them as well, the Brendan Rodgerses, the Steve Coppels. You know, I think me and Nas obviously have a relationship where I don't always say yes to him. You know, I bounce ideas off him, he bounces ideas off me. But I have to say that he's a fantastic person to work with. Hopefully from tonight you've seen his enthusiasm and his love for the game, which is something that inspires me. Every single day he wants to improve himself as a coach, and I'm sure he'll do that as a manager, and that can only transpire to the players. You know, the players will want to play for him. I've always wanted to work for him. I take great pride in working for him, and I don't mind doing that extra 10% or the extra 12 hours a day for him, you know, because he's that type of character, and I hope that this opportunity is one that he's definitely deserved, and he will bring a great deal of spirit to the club, a great deal of determination, and I think that the project going forward, if it matches his ambition, then Hayes and Yeading United will have great times ahead.
Thank you. Oh, nice.
I think we've all been inspired by these 2 gentlemen tonight, so I'd like you to put your hands together. Thank you all very much for coming. Well, yeah, thanks again for coming, and let's all look forward to the first game.